Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. Joining me is Ben Jones, Product Development Specialist with Nasdaq Index Research, to discuss work from anywhere technology trends. Ben, welcome back to Trade Talks, and I think you will agree the work from home trade is no longer the best way to refer to the sectors and stocks that benefited from a remote environment. Some of those trends were in place, and certainly COVID-19 accelerated those trends, but work from anywhere is here to stay, or at least in some sort of hybrid environment.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, to the point where I think there's a recreational vehicle manufacturer who's actually looking to change their designs to make the RVs more accommodating to the work from anywhere movement. Because if you think about in the middle of the summer, at the height of the pandemic, according to a Stanford study, about 42% of the U.S. labor workforce was working from home and remotely. And that continues to be the case today. I mean, that's why about 72% of IT decision makers believe that hybrid or remote working is the future of the workplace. And at the middle in the cross section of the work from home or work from anywhere movement, there's really three critical areas that we see from a thematic standpoint that you can look to kind of express investments in trading and being able to access this theme is through looking at cloud computing companies, looking at cybersecurity companies, and looking at data and infrastructure companies, because they're really the three areas that are enabling the work from anywhere movement. And at NASDAQ, we are leaders in thematic indexes, especially thematic technology indexes. And so we're going to look at those three areas today.
Yeah, Ben, and let's take a look at cloud, because even the small communication that we're doing right now is being enabled because of the cloud.
Yeah, that's right. And so we have two indexes to explore: the ISC CTA Cloud Computing Index and the BVP NASDAQ Emerging Cloud Index. Both of these indexes provide ways of tracking and accessing companies that are involved in cloud computing. When we look at these indexes, really since kind of the beginning of this work from home movement, which really was let's say 7 months ago, the first week of March. I remember that was a week when we started to work virtually here. And so when you look at these two indexes, they performed extremely well really over the past 7 months, especially when compared against the S&P 500. The biggest difference between these two indexes, the BVP NASDAQ Emerging Cloud Index does have a growth screen. It tends to tilt towards some of the smaller size companies. And you can see that has helped over the past 7 months.
And of course, if we're going to do things in the cloud, CTOs have to be concerned about cybersecurity.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they have a tough mission, right? A dual mission, in fact, according to McKinsey. Basically, they have to support business continuity as well as protect the enterprise and its customers. And this continues to be the case, even within this work from home, work from anywhere movement. There was a study that said there's been a 40% surge in machines running remotely. And so the threats have increased. There's more vulnerabilities. And so you can track and access the cybersecurity theme in a couple different ways. You can look at the ISC Cybersecurity Index Suite that NASDAQ runs and supports, as well as the NASDAQ CTA Cybersecurity Index. All three of these indexes really provide ways of tracking this space. These are the companies that are providing cybersecurity services, really providing cybersecurity in general, right? So if we look at this theme over the past 7 months, you can see, compared to the S&P 500, these three indexes are up almost 30%, while the S&P 500 is up about 14% since the first week of March.
All right, we heard a lot about cloud and cybersecurity, but what about data and infrastructure, where these things live?
Yeah, we have to touch upon this, right? Because really what runs the internet, what allows these cloud companies to exist, right? It's data and infrastructure companies. So behind the scenes, there's these companies that build, run, and operate the data centers, the wireless towers, the fiber optic networks. And this is what the benchmark Data and Infrastructure Real Estate Index tracks, right? So these constituents in this index are U.S. listed, publicly traded companies that are leaders in 5G and cloud mission critical infrastructure. The point, looking at these slides, you can see that this index has trailed a traditional technology benchmark, but again, it's not a traditional technology index, right? It's going to be comprised of some REITs in there. What I think is interesting is over the past month, we've seen a little bit of divergence where the benchmark Data and Infrastructure Real Estate Index is slightly outperformed, but just by a hair. But overall, you can see how these three key areas, cloud, cybersecurity, and data infrastructure, kind of play into the work from home movement, or really the work from anywhere trend.
I would agree, Ben, and certainly something that we'll be following. Thanks so much for joining us on Trade Talks.
Thank you.
And thanks for joining me. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.